What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to be doing part 2 of the Iron Trans Lion King review, or their version of a Victory Leo. And today we're going to be looking at the combined mode with this guy here, Starblade, their version of Star Saber. Now I have them in vehicle mode here because there's a feature I didn't show in the review for this guy, and it actually is compatible with this. So the shield that comes with this guy can be used as a stand. So if you pop out this and you grab these adapters, there's two different ones. So there's this one, and you come to here, push out on this panel, pop that out, and then on this side we'll plug this in. It only goes in one way, like that. And then if you come to the bottom, you'll see on his crush panel right here, this will fit right over that. So it clips onto the back and then goes over. And now you can display this on a flight stand. I don't know how great this is, but you can do that. The jet doesn't really stay together all that well, but you can do that. But more importantly, that stand can be used with Star Saber here. So you can grab this, and oh, look at that, the adapter came apart. We'll set this aside because you don't need this now. And we'll grab this one. This one will plug in the same spot. And same sort of deal, you come to the bottom. I'm just going to take the head off. This will clip around the hip skirt here, or the crotch piece. And now you can display this on the stand, on the shield. That is kind of neat, you know. I like that option. All right, before we get them combined, I did want to give you one last look here at the two of them in robot mode. They do look good together. They're a nice pair. So if you were planning to display them like this, I think that'd be pretty nice. I still don't like the fact that Victory Leo is much taller than Star Saber here. But let's get it combined. We have to start by taking apart this guy. Before we do that, I just wanted to mention this guy is also compatible with MP24 Star Saber, the Takara Tomy figure. And there's some parts, some adapters that you need for that combination. So obviously we're not going to use those here, but you have this backpack piece to allow you to attach the wings. You have these to allow you to attach the feet. And then you have this to allow you to attach the shield. So we don't need any of these here because we're not combining with MP24. Unfortunately, I don't have MP24 Star Saber anymore, so I'm not going to be able to show you that today. But we will get this into its combined mode. There's two combined modes. So there's a regular combined mode. They call it just the G1 combined mode. And then there's a ultimate combined mode, which I think takes more parts from this guy. All right, let's start by taking the parts off. Some of them come off really easy, like these two. They just pop right off, almost fall off in a way. Come to the back here, you got to remove these, which are now becoming the shoulder blades for the ultimate combined. We don't need it for the regular one. Set those aside. We can remove the backpack from here. And something I forgot to show in my review is you can store the ultimate combined mode chest plate back here underneath the backpack, which is kind of cool. So go ahead and remove that as well. Set that aside. Come to here. We're going to unpeg this gun again for the ultimate combined mode. So set those aside for now. Then we'll come to here, pull this back out. This is just on a very light peg system. It comes off super easy, but this is the combined mode, ultimate combined mode waist piece. And there's still more to go. We're going to take these off and set those aside. A lot of parts here. Come to the bottom, we're going to plug the feet from here. And then we're going to unplug the legs. So this is interesting. You're going to come to the back, open this up, and this actually happened to me at one point. It slid off. I was like, oh no, I broke it. But no, it's just designed to come off. That's probably one of the issues with this figure and why I gave it a 3. It's really designed, you know, the design preference was given to combine mode. And that led to some, you know, weakness here in the robot mode and the vehicle modes. All right, same on this. Slide this out. And you're left with this. And you don't... Actually, sorry, we need these to take off the shoulder pads. Set those aside. And I think we're done. So let me just show you all the parts we ended up with from this guy. You know, it's really quite a bit of stuff. But you don't need this torso piece. So that can be set aside. This basically is unusable. And unfortunately, you can't turn it into anything. It just becomes, you know, nothing. But here's the parts you're left with. You have the 2 leg pieces. You have the 2 feet. You've got the 4 shoulder pad pieces. Crotch plate for combined mode. These pieces for combined mode. These 2. And then these gun pieces for the arms. So basically all of this, the 2 leg pieces, the 2 arm pieces, the combined mode waist, all of that is going to be for the super combined mode. So you can set literally all of that aside. All right, next we'll take care of combining these feet together. So this is actually the combined mode foot, but you're going to take this toe, plug that into there. Come to the top and you'll need a spudger or something. Pop open this panel. And this will accordion back on this double hinge right here. Bring that back. And it's not really clear how this goes, you know, in the instructions. It doesn't really say, but I think it folds down like this. There is a slot right here, but it doesn't tab into anything. At least I don't think it does. So I think you just fold it down and leave it on the side like that, kind of out of the way. All right, so same on this one. Plug in your toe, pop open this panel, accordion back, and bring this down and basically hide it on the inside of the leg. Like I said, there's not really a given spot. Oh, and we got to open up these panels here on the inside. That's what you're going to attach to the foot of Star Saber. Not the best connection point, but let's bring in Star Saber. All right, to get him ready to combine with this, we'll fold up the heel, fold back on the toe, fold this over, make this so that the bottom, oops, you want this fold all the way back. Make this so that the bottom straight, and then insert the foot into the leg as far as it'll go. And you want this to be flat, right? So the bottom of the foot's flat. That will insert in here. You can see there's 2 slots on either side of the foot. I guess they thought about this ahead of time. That's going to go into here. Those don't really lock in that well, to be honest. But get this in here. And perhaps I pushed it in too far. Pull that back out a little bit. And get this down in here and then tab it in on both sides. And I'll be honest, this connection isn't great. Yeah, I don't know. That's not the greatest, but that's how it goes. So it should be basically flat up against this. All right, I'll do this one now. Fold that up, fold this down, push the foot in, and then we'll get this on here. My biggest concern is those tabs really don't lock in all that well. But there you go. There are your combined mode feet. Oh boy. All right, next we'll combine the backpack. So come to the back here. And this is just too loose to support the weight of the full backpack. So they've given you these add-on parts. And you can see this is going to plug in right here. So you put this here and then you bring it in and close it. It's actually kind of annoying to get it, but let's see, I have the wrong one on the wrong side. Okay. So plug these in to here. And that actually adds some stability to the backpack so that it won't fall down with the weight. Or we'll see. We'll see if it has the stability. Bring in your backpack now. And you're going to again plug in these two pegs right here into these two slots here. Right. Lift this out of the way. And let's see if we can get this to sit without falling out. And then you're going to bring this down. The white piece will lock on the other side and kind of hold on. Not the best, but we can get it. And then open up your wings. All right, there is the Iron Trans, Starblade, and Lion King combined into what we know as Victory Saber. And I do think it looks good, but I am pretty disappointed after waiting 6 years for this. You know, it is not very stable. The backpack is pretty loose. It's just being held by those two tabs. You know, as you mess with it, I could see it's barely hanging on. So you don't want to mess with that too much. The feet are okay, but like, I don't know. They're okay. There is an ankle tilt here now, down where this attaches. So that does work. All the rest of articulation is the same, but it is somewhat back heavy now because you've got this big backpack. He tends to lean back on this ab crunch joint. So I'm constantly adjusting it forward to get it back into position. But I will say it looks pretty cool. All right, now let's get him combined into his quote-unquote ultimate mode. And basically you use more of the parts from the Victory Leo figure. So let's do some of the easy stuff first. We can just pop the head off. And we've got this new combined mode head that combines some of the Victory Leo parts in there. Looks pretty neat. It is a little bit bigger too, you know, proportion-wise. And you do need a small adapter piece, looks like this. That's going to stick into the neck of the underlying robot. So you're going to rotate the head around, and then you're going to stick this into the slot underneath the back of the head. So go ahead and take this and get that inserted right in there. All right. Then you're going to take the combined mode head. That'll fit over the top of that head. And here's what I'm talking about. This backpack and this ab crunch, it just likes to go down. But there you go for that. Then we'll take care of the chest. So I'll zoom out a little bit there. And we'll take this piece here, flip up this. And this is basically going to clip on the outside of this. So we're going to rotate these. Let's see if I can do it without doing that. Okay, looks like I can. And you want to rotate this down so it sits like that. Same with this one, rotate this around and have it sit down like that. Then you're going to take this. This will fit over the top. And you'll see there's a little clip right here that's going to go onto the back of this. So bring this over. Get that clipped on. And there you go. It's getting real heavy up here, but now we can take care of the arms. So come to the side of the arms, and we got to pop this panel out. It's just on a little clip here. And we're replacing these with this. And that allows you to attach the guns. So simple, just pop that in. Grab the arm guns, arm cannons. You'll see there's 4 tabs in there that'll plug into that new piece we just added. All right. Same on this side, pop off this panel. It comes off really easy, actually. Easier than I would have expected. And then get the replacement piece right there. It did surprise me though that they didn't think of this ahead of time, but and then grab the gun and plug that in there. All right, next we'll take care of the shoulder pads, which require these parts and the shoulder pad parts that we took off of the Victory Leo figure. And you come to here and basically open up this little peg, and that'll tab in right here. And then grab the other one, same kind of thing, open up this peg, tab that in right here. And then you have this, and you'll see there's 2 little pegs on the inside. Those pegs will attach to the slots you see on these panels. And there's a set of 2. And I just don't love this way, the way it goes together. But on the back, you'll see, let me just close up these wings for you. There's a tab right here. So it seems like they did think about this ahead of time. But get the smaller 2 tabs into here and the bigger ones into the back. And let's see if we can get this attached. All right, there we go. And I'll get the other side on there. So again, grab your shoulder pad, open up this panel, clip this into here, and clip this into the other side. And then this will clip into the front, and this will clip into the back. All right, lastly, we'll take care of the legs. So we're going to bring in these pieces and these. So for this, we're going to pull out this little clip right here. This will slide up and into this little groove right here. Not fun. And then on the top, you're going to open up this clip. This clip will hook to the top of this. And then once you get it hooked onto both of those spots, you're going to push it down. It just sits on top. This piece, you're going to take this peg. That will go in right here on the side of the leg. And then this will hook in right here. And it's frustrating, to be honest. All right, so get this in. Slide that in, rotate that, and get it hooked onto the back there. It's all just kind of loosely sitting on there. Kind of horrible. All right, let's do it again. Grab your spudger, open up this panel, open up the hook, slide this up and on, hook it over the top, push this in. It's terrible. It really is not, fun. Take this, close that up. This will peg in right here. And then hook this in on the side of the leg, or the side of this piece we just added, and get that all collapsed down. All right, one last bit here. We're going to get the hip skirts and crotch piece, just tab it in right there. Oh, and our backpack fell off. All right, so there is the Iron Trans Starblade and Lion King in the ultimate mode, or combined mode. And while I think this thing looks really cool, I love the concept, the implementation, the execution is really poor. Unfortunately, a lot of the parts and pieces just don't want to stay on. The backpack, the chest piece, the waist piece, pretty much everything is on there kind of loose. As you start to manipulate it or articulate it, first of all, the ab crunch is not strong enough to hold the weight of this, the backpack and all the parts we've added. So often as you're articulating it, it goes back and gets, just sits back like this. Also the backpack, they added those strengthening pieces, but they don't really make the difference, right? It still falls off if you try to articulate. The wings are pretty big. They're kind of unwieldy. And on a display on a shelf, this is going to take up a lot of room. You basically need to have a combiner's worth of space for this guy, right? You can't really put it on a regular shelf. So I don't know. It's very impressive looking, I'll say that. But I don't know if this is what people would want. You really want something that's going to stay together, right? As far as the accessories, you can use the giant blaster here. And this looks good. But now that he's a little bit taller, well, maybe not. I don't know. Let's see. And you can see parts are already falling off. Just going to leave them. Yeah, I don't see any really good way to use this because you can't get it. You can get it in the hand, but you can't get the arm up to utilize this. What's the point? Right? I guess you could mount it onto the back here, and maybe tab it in here. Okay. Let me get this back together. We're not going to be messing with this anymore, but this is the problem. All right, for size comparison, there it is next to the Fans Hobby version of Super Jinrai in the Delta Magnus colors. And this is a pretty big figure, so you can just see just how massive this combined mode is. It's not going to fit with anything in your collection. It's really just a standalone piece meant to be on its own, right? Not meant to be paired with anything. It is impressive looking at it, but yeah, just way too big to fit in any scale. All right, so final recommendations on the Iron Trans Starblade and Lion King combined mode. Well, I think this looks really cool. I love the concept. I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5. I'm not going to recommend it. Unfortunately, it's just executed too poorly. The parts don't stay together. The figure overall is frustrating. When I did the review of just Lion King on its own, it kind of had a saving grace of the robot mode was pretty good, but the vehicle modes aren't great. They just barely stay together, and they just don't really look like what they're supposed to. At least the jet mode doesn't. The lion mode is okay. It's okay. But the combined mode, unfortunately, I love the look of it, but it just is frustrating of things just falling off, popping off. The backpack just can't support the weight. I mean, there's just too many issues to give this a pass. So unless you're planning to get this and just put it on the shelf and leave it and never touch it, it's probably not worth your time. Now, me personally, I got this because I wanted to display it with the Star Saber. I might put them in both in robot mode on the shelf. Definitely not going to be putting them in alt mode. Or maybe I'll just leave it like this and see how I feel after a couple days. But not going to keep it in this mode for a long time. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.